Windfall one for us, we run, we win. This is your friend James, continuing with passing laws fail, legislative cowardice. We are now just going to talk about they'll pass gun laws because they're afraid of dying. Now this is a very, very serious thing because there have been guns and knives and swords all over history, especially in America. And in fact, if you watch old cowboy shows and stuff, people were actually able to use guns to control evil people. But of course, you had the bandits had guns and they were killing people and doing stuff they weren't supposed to do. So people who are afraid of guns, they're afraid of death is really what it is. They will pass a law to stop people from, owning guns and things like that. Of course, that's against the law in the United States of America to even pass or even talk about that because that's against our Bill of Rights, the right to bear arms. But there are people who pass laws and do stuff because they're afraid of dying. Now, you don't have any business bringing any type of firearm on public property that somebody else says they don't want to have guns on. But when you legislate and try to do it, what you're actually doing is you are legislating your fear. You're afraid of your little kid, instead of believing God for protection or asking God what to do about it or bringing Christianity to a forefront in your society. You want everyone to do whatever they want to do. You want to play around with witchcraft and stuff like that and demons and stuff like that and tantrums and all that mess. You just don't want to deal with that. But instead, you're scared of dying, so you pass a law so nobody can have guns. Well, that is legislative cowardice. Because there are people who are very smart with guns, and there are pastors of churches that have lots and lots of guns. There are people with lots and lots of guns connection. And actually, if guns were actually the cause of that stuff, then I really think the United States of America, if we speak just about our country, this country would not even be here because, if people just really couldn't control themselves with guns, we would have taken care of that a long time ago. Of course, you've seen the countries that did it. Hitler took away guns, and the USSR took away guns. And you see other countries even today that if the people had weapons, they would have already been out of their problem, because that is why even George Washington, was it George Washington or Abraham Lincoln? It was, this the point that you have guns is to be able to defend yourself from the government. That's why you have the right to bear arms. That's the purpose of it. But people who are afraid of dying, afraid of school shootings, they're working off their fear. Now, the problem with working off fear is that you are reverencing it. You are sleeping up at night thinking about this. Remember Job, he said, the thing I feared the most, greatly feared, came upon me. So he did all that stuff, but it still came upon him because he was reverencing the fact. He was meditating on it. He was scared. And if you're scared that your kid's going to get shot to death inside of a school, you need to ask God how to make sure that your kid does not get shot to death inside a school instead of getting afraid. But when people legislate fear, they'll do that. I'll just tell you, I saw a country that got rid of guns now wanted to try to get rid of knives. Because people kept killing people. They're still killing people, even though the country does not allow, Cain did not use a gun. Nobody in the Old Testament used a gun. Yet thousands and thousands of people still got killed. Germany didn't, Nazi Germany did, they took the guns from the people, but how many people died when the people didn't have guns? More people died in Nazi Germany and during World War, who didn't have, countries that didn't have guns, just so USSR, the people couldn't have weapons. Come on, more people died. But anyways, it's legislative cowardice because what you're doing is you're working off of fear. And whenever you do anything off of fear, that fear manifests inside your life despite your, just like people were afraid of losing money and they do all this work and then they lose their health and stuff like that because it's working contrary. So that's legislative cowardice. Let me be.